Today on the Big 3 and 30, Cooper Flagg drops 49 points, but the Mavs lose to the Hornets.
Cooper Flagg has just shown time and time again that he has so much more to unlock in his game.
The Timberwolves take a win over the Thunder.
The Timberwolves came out with this aggression, defensively and offensively, honestly.
And the Suns dominate against the Pistons.
You can't go to any game for this Suns team and say, oh, loss. Because that doesn't exist in the Phoenix Suns' minds.
This is the Big 3 and 30 NBA. The three biggest stories in the NBA from our local experts at the Locked On Podcast Network. We bring you the real story, why it matters, what's next, who wins the big game, and more, all in 30 minutes. The Big 3 and 30 NBA starts now. Thank you for making the Big 3 and 30 your first listen of the day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Cooper Flagg put up the best performance of his young career last night, dropping 49 points for the Mavs in a game Dallas would end up losing to the Hornets. Nick Angstadt and Slightly Biased recapped the loss and Flagg's big night on Locked On Mavericks.
Cooper Flagg has just shown time and time again that he has so much more to unlock in his game. He is not a rookie that's coming in and you're like, oh man, he's showing us a lot. This is probably like what he could do. He's got another level to his game. These floaters, these little at the rim things, he scores 49 points, like you said, 20 of 29 from the field. Like incredibly efficient in this game. 14 of 17 in the paint, where he's just going to the rim over and over again. Left hand, right hand, floaters to the rim, little bunnies here and there. The Dirk fade with Dirk in attendance. Absolutely incredible. 49 points, which ties Mark Aguirre's career high, which was fitting tonight. Absolutely incredible from Cooper Flagg. And I kind of wonder if he took the matchup with Con Knibble personal, and that's when he comes out and shows like, hey, there was this clip where he was like I'm him, like on him. He was talking to Con when he was sitting on the bench, and you just wonder if he takes these matchups personally. Con Knibble was obviously his teammate at Duke, but was also his roommate there, and so he comes out and he's like, all right, I'm going to show out in front of this guy. And also, Con was going off at the beginning of this game, and Cooper Flagg had to match it. And to me, that shows me that's the next level of Cooper Flagg. He's got all these skills. Obviously, 3 of 5 from 3, incredible. We'll talk about his 3-point shot. But the thing that's going to take him from a really good player with a lot of skills, that has a lot of tools, to incredible player, finals MVP level player that I think he can be, is he's a maniac, an absolute maniac. He takes these games seriously, and he goes at guys. He wants to prove that he's the best on the court. When he goes to Team USA camp, he doesn't just like stand in the corner and be like, I'm the 17-year-old playing against like 40-year-old LeBron. He goes in there and he takes shots. He goes in there and he plays defense. He goes in there and tries to show that he's the best guy on the court. And I think that maniacal attitude from Cooper Flagg is what separates him from a lot of these other guys that come out with incredible talent but just can't back it up.
Yeah, I mean, it was 29 shots. That's just that's the ending and beginning of it. Like, how many times have we come on here and just been like, man, I just wish Coop would shoot 20 times. Like, I don't want the 12-shot attempt games.
Yeah.
29 shots. And like you mentioned, just stepping up and realizing that, hey, Najee's out. And Najee's been the guy that's kind of been the engine of the offense ever since AD's gone down. So somebody's going to have to step up tonight. And it was Coop. And all of this, like we're talking about all the crazy stats that he had tonight. He had 2 points in the first quarter.
I know. First quarter, I was like, oh, man. He's coming back. He missed the last game. He's coming back. His ankle may still be bothering him.
First quarter, I was like, guys, it might be over. Like, the Rookie of the Year stuff is going to catch up. People are going to catch on a little bit on what Con's doing. Like, and then it was just an onslaught.
Should I out somebody in our group chat?
No, I mean, I was saying it myself.
Tim Cato was like, Con Knibble has been objectively better than Cooper Flagg. And I was like, well, I don't know after tonight. I don't know if you can still say that.
I think that was spearheaded by me saying something like, if you can still get good odds on the Con, Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year futures.
It might be
what
worth
is it
a
on
sprinkle.
What is it on FanDuel? I think we have that today. Yeah, but I mean, incredible.
Yeah, I mean, that second quarter was just an absolute onslaught from him. I mean, 23 points. And it was just a relentlessness. Made a couple of threes, but just getting downhill and driving. And, hey, some of that was for a good chunk of this game, and they kind of stopped guarding each other after a while. But Con was at least picking up Coop quite a bit.
Yeah.
And Coop saw that as an opportunity, and to his credit, I mean, he was beating him off the dribble and getting around him and getting to the rim almost at will in that second quarter. And he just kind of used that momentum, went 8 of 9 from the field in the second quarter, 7 of 10 in the third quarter. So, he didn't just go into halftime, it was a long halftime. That's got to be kind of weird for a player.
It was very long. It was like almost 30 minutes.
Right, and I mean,
it's like a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, these jersey retirements, they don't happen frequently. But if you play in the league, you'll have these experiences.
This is my third one.
I can't imagine Coops ever had a 30-minute halftime. I mean, I don't know, college basketball.
Yeah, maybe the Final Four, but
yeah, maybe, I don't know. But they come out at halftime and not just settle and be like, all right, I had a good second quarter. To come out and take 10 shots then immediately in the third quarter and play the whole quarter, I was happy about that.
He just has these flurries. Ever since preseason, we've seen it. These flurries where he just goes on little runs. You talked about it, he had 2 points in that first quarter and then finishes with 49. That's absolutely incredible.
Insane.
Can I tell you a theory? Is it just us in here?
Yeah.
Cooper Flagg, who's the guy that he watched a lot of YouTube footage of and watched a lot of clips of growing up?
Larry Bird.
Larry Bird has this famous quote where he was getting guarded. Larry Bird was getting guarded by a white dude in a game and goes, "How dare you?" He's like, "You're going to put him on me," and just absolutely destroyed him. And I wonder if Cooper Flagg has that. I wonder if Cooper Flagg knows that story and was like, "You're going to put Concanible on me? You're going to put Concanible on me?"
I'm here for that if that's the case. Well, there was actually I saw this quote earlier today. It was from what's the Duke's coach name? Shireman. Yeah. Wait, is Baylor Shireman related to him?
Are we talking?
No, I think his last name is Shireman, but that would be a little bit bizarre if there was a Baylor Shireman.
Isaac is yelling at us.
He is. Sorry. I'm not a college basketball guy at all. But anyways,
Me either.
It was an interesting quote that
John
said,
Shire.
John Shire.
He is a man, but he's not Shire man.
This is how out of tune I am with it in college basketball. I couldn't name the Duke head coach, but I'm like Baylor Shireman.
Meanwhile, Isaac's over here pregame going, "Guys, Nate Oates is here. And I'm like, great. Google's Nate Oates. He's the Alabama's head coach.
Is that a fan? Is that a fan of the podcast? No, but
who's Brandon Miller's coach
on the text line? Hey, Nate Oates here. What was I saying? Oh yeah, there was a quote that said at Duke there was a practice where Con Knipple basically called out Coop and was like, "Hey, your head's not in it. Let's go, lock in."
Wow.
And that was kind of the relationship that those two had, which I love. I love to hear that uber competitiveness that both of these guys clearly possess. And yeah, Coop tapped into that to another level tonight.
Another level, and shows that he has even more of a level to go to. I mean, the shots around the rims. I want to go 14 of 17 in the paint. His ability to already hit those shots, those are so hard for guys to hit. There's not many players that could go in and consistently to this level. He's played over 40 games in the NBA. This is not a small sample size at this point.
God,
we have seen him hit these shots over and over again against different players, against different defenders, against different kinds of help. They were sending doubles to Flagg over and over again, and he was making the right play. But these floaters, these guys that come up and try and defend him, I mean, Diabate didn't have a chance because Diabate is almost the same size as Cooper Flagg. And so you're like, if he meets somebody that's at the rim that's the same size as him, he just rises up over the top.
It's the last call for football on FanDuel. One final Sunday, one last kickoff. The final chance to get in on the action before the NFL season officially comes to a close. This is Super Bowl 60, and FanDuel is making sure you're right in the middle of it with a special offer just in time for the biggest game of the year. Whether you're backing the favorite, riding with the underdog, or building one last same-game parlay, this is the game everyone's been waiting for. This is where predictions turn into plays, stats turn into storylines, and every snap feels bigger. It's the perfect way to cap off the season and make the Super Bowl even more exciting from kickoff to the final whistle. If you're a new customer, bet just $5. And if you win, you get $200 in bonus bets. Make it count because after the Super Bowl, the season's over for a long time. Last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com to get started.
Welcome back to the Big 3 and 30 NBA. The Timberwolves got their second win over the Thunder this season last night, taking down OKC behind Anthony Edwards' 26 points. Locked On Wolves host Ben Beacon has more after the victory.
So the Wolves beat the Thunder back in mid-December. That was the infamous, we'll call it the famous Chris Finch from the Wolves' perspective, getting ejected early in the game, and then of course the fun internet narrative of things turning for the Thunder at that point. True or untrue, clearly there was some impact there, right? The Wolves won that game fairly easily after Chris Finch was ejected. Since then, J-Dub returned, and now he's out again for them. AJ Mitchell missed this game. Alex Caruso missed this game. They did get Isaiah Hartenstein back. He'd missed the last 3 or 4 weeks or so with a calf injury. So this was, they're missing a couple of rotation guys, but I mean, earlier this year, all we were hearing about is how deep the Thunder were and how it didn't matter that J-Dub was out and all this stuff. So I don't know if we can have it both ways, but that's the team the Wolves had in front of them. They had to beat them. Ant played second night of a back-to-back, which was, certainly up in the air, given that he didn't play. What day was that? Monday. He didn't play against Golden State on the second night of a back-to-back. And the 4 games in 5 nights for the Wolves. And everybody except Mike Conley played. And I know Ant missed one of the 4 in 5 nights, but still 3 games in 5 nights, given the toe issue that Ant's been dealing with. Obviously vital that he was able to play in this game. Mike Conley was the only rotation guy not available for Minnesota. Of course, TJ Shannon's still out. And the Wolves came out with an absolute intensity that, it was clear that this game meant more to them. And we don't need to go into the reasons why it does, but it makes sense, right? Of course, the defending champs are going to get everybody's best shot, much less, or even more so, I should say, from the team that they eliminated last year in the conference finals, from a team that their coach went to bat for them against last time out, and a team that, it makes sense, right? And the Timberwolves came out with this aggression defensively and offensively, honestly, and almost a little bit too much offensively. They missed a bunch of long through, their first 5 shots were threes. I think 8 of their first 10 shot attempts were 3-pointers, if I'm not mistaken. They made a couple free throws in there as well. But they came out swinging defensively and offensively, throwing haymakers. They were up 12 at the end of the first. They were up 13 at halftime. They stretched that lead over 20 in the third quarter, and the Thunder made it a little bit more interesting in the fourth. But then Ant kind of helped put it away. And actually, we'll get back to Ant because I want to talk about how he bookended this game really impressively. I want to start with the defensive pressure because that was the thing that was completely off the charts. It looked so much like the first couple games of that 7-game, instant classic series against Denver in the second round 2 years ago, when Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Jaden McDaniels were swarming Jamal Murray and others in the backcourt at the timeline, trapping him. Pickup points were an average of it felt like 94 feet, right? Not actually, but in that series, we haven't seen consistent ball pressure from Minnesota like that. We've seen it here and there, and my guess is this isn't here to stay. Realistically, can any team do this every night? But the fact that the Wolves can do this, first of all, can they do it a little bit more often, please? Second of all, we've said it all season. The Wolves play to their competition. Remember, without Anthony Edwards, they took the Houston Rockets. They had a lead in the second half against the Rockets and easily could have and probably should have won that game. When they were in the midst of struggling, they should have beaten the Nuggets on Christmas Day and lost in overtime in an incredible Nikola Jokic performance, right? We could find all these performances the Wolves have put together against good teams. And this was another example of, look, Dante DiVincenzo can get into a stance and get 5 steals like he did the other night. Actually, no, not the other night, last night or Wednesday night, the night before the Thunder game in Dallas when he had 5 steals. And then the very next night, do a similar thing against OKC, only get credited with 2 steals, but setting the tone immediately with the steal on the first possession of the game. And getting a ton of deflections and just being active and physical and getting called for some fouls along the way. But that's the Thunder strategy, right? They can't call them all. And sure enough, the Wolves were called for 6 more personal fouls in this game. OKC did shoot a couple more free throws than Minnesota. I thought this game was very well officiated compared to the Dallas game where there were 66 combined free throws or something. The night before there were only 38 combined free throws in this game. Much more watchable, much more fun to watch. Obviously the Wolves won both games. But all that to say, the Wolves took the Thunder's game to the Thunder. And Dante DiVincenzo, I think, set the tone immediately right off the bat. Julius Randle wasn't far behind with his physicality. And I've said that, 3, 4, 5 times this season about Julius Randle's defense. Usually these guys, like the guys I have written down to talk about, Dante DiVincenzo, Julius Randle, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, about their defensive intensity. Those are the guys usually, I don't say usually, not about Jaden, but recently it feels like the opposite has been true. Like the Utah loss last week, right? It was that same list of guys that were lazy defensively, not moving their feet. There was, I forget which game, the 5-game losing streak runs together, but there was one game where the defense was just atrocious. They gave up a ton of points. The next game, the defense was a little better, but they gave up a ton of free throw attempts because they weren't moving their feet. They were grabbing and holding, and they were, quote unquote, being physical, air quotes, but not really. They were just being lazy. This game, they were legitimately physical. They were moving their feet and swiping up at the ball and keeping their hands up instead of keeping them down. Shout out Mark Jackson, hand down, man down. They were actually off the ball, putting an effort toward jumping passing lanes, denying catches, being physical both on and off the ball. Those 4 guys led the way. Rudy was also good defensively, like really to a man. The guys that played for the Timberwolves, and there were only 8 rotation players. They did not play Berringer rotation minutes. Conley did not play. I thought Jalen Clark was really good in this one. I thought Nas was fine defensively. They all played really well defensively. Very impressive stuff. And the tone was set immediately. And ultimately, like, you look at the box score, and the Wolves did turn it over more than OKC. Some of that was sloppy garbage time. Some of it was just general sloppiness later in the game when the game was mostly decided. OKC actually turned it over 4 less times than Minnesota. The Wolves only had 1 more steal than OKC, but it was more about the difficulty they created for the Thunder offensive operation. OKC wasn't getting clean looks by and large. They did. The Wolves dodged a couple of bullets, and of course, that's the book on the Thunder, is be physical, double shea when you can, and try and make somebody else make threes. And more often than not, they do. That's how they won the title last year. But look at the Pacers series in the finals versus the Wolves series in the conference finals, and the way that the role players shot the 3 in the finals last year. And it's a lot like this game. They were still ended up being 35%, but Isaiah Joe was 2 of 6. Wolves will take that. Kaysen Wallace was 1 of 5. He's obviously a better shooter than that. Wolves will take that. I mean, Shea only attempted 2 threes. He only got to the line 5 times. He turned it over 5 times. He was a game worst, minus 22. The Wolves defended OKC the exact right way. And sometimes those shots fall. You play OKC 7 times. If you win the series, it's going to be a 6 or 7 game series. Like, you're not beating them more than, or they're not going to lose. How do I want to say that? They're not going to lose too many games because of how good SGA is. But eventually, given a large enough sample size, if you're good in those other areas, those role guys are not all such sharpshooters that they're going to beat you that way. And the Wolves tried to, they made that calculation in this game. And because they were physical enough on the ball, and the help defense was good, and the low man help was good, and the defensive rebounding was good enough in this game. Okay, so he still had 11 offensive rebounds, but you can handle that. They held Hartenstein to just 3 offensive rebounds, which is good. I mean, he only played 18 minutes in his return from injury in this one. A little bit of foul trouble there. But the recipe was exactly correct.
It's the last call for football on FanDuel. One final Sunday, one last kickoff. The final chance to get in on the action before the NFL season officially comes to a close. This is Super Bowl 60, and FanDuel is making sure you're right in the middle of it with a special offer just in time for the biggest game of the year. Whether you're backing the favorite, riding with the underdog, or building one last same-game parlay, this is the game everyone's been waiting for. This is where predictions turn into plays, stats turn into storylines, and every snap feels bigger. It's the perfect way to cap off the season and make the Super Bowl even more exciting from kickoff to the final whistle. If you're a new customer, bet just $5. And if you win, you get $200 in bonus bets. Make it count, because after the Super Bowl, the season's over for a long time. Last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com to get started.
Welcome back to the Big 3 and 30 NBA. The Suns hosted the Pistons last night, and Dillon Brooks dropped 40 points in a Phoenix win. Locked On Suns host Ben Garcia has more after the win.
In all reality, I made a prediction, and I said the Suns would lose to the Detroit Pistons. Now, I don't feel stupid for that take at all, because Jalen Green was out, Devin Booker was out. I thought there was a chance they could make it close. I cited the Detroit Pistons aren't a great offensive team. What they want, they're awesome defensively. Asor Thompson, Cade Cunningham's a good defender. Isaiah Stewart, like, they've got dudes. Jalen Duren, they've got dudes. What they want to do is muck it up, punch you in the mouth, and they've got enough shot makers, that being Cade Cunningham, to put it away in the fourth quarter. And I didn't pick the Suns to win because, again, they didn't have Jalen Green. They didn't have Devin Booker. And so I was wrong from that instance. But I remember looking at a lot of Suns fans when Jalen Green went out, when Devin Booker went out. Oh, well, what are they going to do? Poor old Suns. The bunch of the Rockets fans came out to play. That's weird. They're very quiet today. It's weird. It's weird. No Jalen Green, no Devin Booker, and the Suns just put belt to ass against the Detroit Pistons. And here's why. They have earned the right to prove you wrong. It's why you can't go to any game for this Suns team and say, oh, loss. Because that doesn't exist in the Phoenix Suns' minds. This was a game this was a trap game for the Detroit Pistons. They thought with no Devin Booker, no Jalen Green, winning 9 of their past 11 games, winning 4 straight coming into this game, that they thought they were just going to cruise their way to a W. And the Suns had other plans. For the first half, they pushed around the Detroit Pistons. They made it a little gross. They got hot from three-point land. And the Pistons, they just can't keep up with that. They don't have enough offensive firepower to win games consistently. There's that key word there. Consistently 125, 128. And the Suns pushed them around. And in that third quarter, you saw the Pistons make that run. I think they went on I took the note here. I think it was a 20-5 run. And honestly, I thought, it was 20-5 run to start the third quarter. And I thought to myself, yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. The Suns don't have enough shot makers. Dylan Brooks is carrying the offensive load on his own. They're not attacking Mark Williams enough. Well, this is kind of what we thought, but valiant effort to the Phoenix Suns. And again, I was wrong there. I didn't think they'd win coming into this game. And I thought when the Pistons won on that 20-5 run in the third quarter, this is where it's going to come back to bite the Suns. They took the Detroit Pistons' best punch in their mouth, and the Suns responded, and they never even halted the lead. To be fair, I don't think the game ever got within 5 points. I remember it was 77-70 at one point, but that's what I remember. And the reason the Suns are doing this is because they have something they haven't had since 2022. Culture and an identity. When Devin Booker and Jalen Green go out, they know what they are. They don't have to, they're not scrambling. Now they might lose games. They lost to the Heat the other night. And part of that had to do with the Suns shot like 20% from the field. And they still had a chance to win that game until really late when the Suns, just kind of got ran out of their own building the last 5 minutes. But they have a culture and identity they can fall back on, which is defense, and we're just going to out-try hard you. And that is a day one commitment that has been instilled in this team. They fall back on that regardless of who's not there. That's why when Devin Booker comes back in, they're going to be fine. And it's why I said, Dylan Brooks or Devin Booker and Jalen Green being hurt sucks. It does suck. But this team has something. I tweeted this out, but this team has something they didn't have last year, a culture and an identity that they can fall back on. They fell back into it, and they didn't go undefeated. They lost a game, but they beat the Nets. They beat the best team in the Eastern Conference, the Detroit Pistons. That's what they do. This game should have been a loss, but now you're looking at it kind of differently tomorrow. You're like, we'll get into this later, but you're like, I don't know. Should you play Jalen Green tomorrow? You don't it's not a desperate W you need. That's what this Suns team does. And it started off recapping this game a little bit. First quarter, the Suns got off to a hot start. They were hitting 3-point shots. Grayson Allen was big late in this game. He didn't have a ton of that early. It was guys like Colin Gillespie then in the second quarter who had a 4-point play at one point. He was 5 for 12 from the field, 5 for 11 from 3, 16 points. You look at the game statistics as a whole. Suns shot 47 from the field. Pistons shot 43. What's something I mentioned? Pistons aren't made to win these high-scoring affairs. They shot 21% from 3. The Suns didn't shoot otherworldly from three. They shot good. It was just, they shot fine. They shot 38% from three. The Suns, this is crazy. The Suns out-rebounded the Detroit Pistons by 10. They just, that is effort. That's just effort. And I'm not saying the Detroit Pistons didn't care. They're one of the best teams in the NBA. The Suns just out-wanted them today. And I don't think the Pistons were ready for it. In that first quarter and that second quarter where the Suns jumped up to a 19-point lead, the Pistons weren't ready for that. They got jumped. They got punched in the face. Because they just thought, oh, you're just going to roll over. That's what every team in the NBA does. Not the Suns. Every game is must-see television. Because even if you think they're going to lose, this is the best team in the Eastern Conference. Statistically speaking, they have a 5-game lead on the second team. 4 games now, but still. And the Suns put belt to ass against them. Talk about turnovers in this game. Suns had 17 turnovers, only conceded 17 points off them. Pretty good ratio if you're going to turn over the ball. If you're going to turn it over, that's fine. Don't let it turn into points. Suns were physical. They were fast. They were aggressive. And they led in this game. I love the statistics so much that ESPN has on there. I'm sorry, guys. I'm still losing my voice, so I got to take a drink of water every couple of seconds. The Suns led for 95% of this game. And here's a question for you. If the Suns were in the Eastern Conference, are they the best team? If the Suns were in the Eastern Conference, would they be in the championship come July? What am I saying? Come June? If the Suns played in the Eastern Conference, are we not so sure they're not the best team in the Eastern Conference? Also, let's dive it even deeper than that after this win. And then we're going to get into Dylan Brooks, who was freaking spectacular tonight. You look at the standings in the NBA, and the Suns have beaten the Thunder, the Spurs, the Timberwolves, the Lakers, the Warriors, Blazers, Clippers, Grizzlies, Mavs. Oh, they haven't played the Mavs yet. Yeah, they did. They beat the Mavs. All these top teams the Suns have beaten. And you look at the Eastern Conference. They've beaten the Pistons. They've beaten the Knicks. Those are the top 2 teams. Does anyone think they can't beat the Celtics without Jason Tatum? Or the Raptors? It's a damn shame the Suns are in the Western Conference. Which, by the way, 29-19 will be good for the outright number 4 seed in the NBA or in the Eastern Conference. And that's with a Western Conference schedule. Imagine if they had an Eastern Conference schedule. They might be the 2 or 1 seed. Crazy. And the reason why the Suns can still do this, like I mentioned before, they have an identity and a culture to fall back on. Just establishing an identity and a culture doesn't do anything. Just saying, this is what we're going to do. Just Jordan not coming to the press conference and saying, we're going to be tough. We're going to be physical. Those are just words. Those are fun. And it makes me feel good. But you need the players to buy into it. And you need the players to transform it.
That's all for today's Big 3 in 30 NBA. If you follow football or college sports, the Big 3 in 30 has shows for the biggest news in the NFL and on campus going up every weekday just like this one. Just search the Big 3 in 30 NFL or the Big 3 in 30 college wherever you're listening or watching now. Thanks again for tuning in to the Big 3 in 30 NBA.